Welcome back to another episode of CREview.
We went to ICSC.
Never came back.
And never left. We're still in Vegas. We're going to be living with mole people soon. Because we're running out of money fast. CREview's back.
Yeah.
We had a little break. We were traveling quite a lot. But today we're going to talk about video marketing and some ideas for commercial real estate professionals from a prospecting point of view. Yeah, we've got some really cool ideas we're going to show today that we'll take you through and give you some tips and tricks.
Let's get into it.
All right.
Before we get into that, just to keep in mind that the biggest enemy is perfection when it comes to creating videos. Rather just do it and you will always get better at it.
And look how imperfect this video is.
Yeah, but 5 years from now, you'll see that it's worth it.
Definitely.
So the first one is interview videos, and these are really, really great videos to do because you have your subject right in front of you, which will be your current clients or potential prospects that you can speak to on camera. And people that are watching that video can relate to those people. They can hear and see people that are just like them and get a good idea of the type of people that you deal with and the type of person that you are as a broker, and they can visualize them in that situation as well.
Yeah, I think asking, you want to ask your past clients what their experience was like working with you, what it was like going through the process of, if they're a mom and pop or a small business and it was the first time leasing a brick and mortar space, what was that whole process like? What were the feelings that they went through? If it's your first time doing that, that is a very, very intense experience because you're taking such a massive leap of faith. I think in the commercial real estate space and brokers, we maybe take that for granted a little bit, that these people are taking such a huge step in something that they're extremely proud of and that they've built up.
Yeah.
And it's really kind of getting into the nitty gritty of that. What were the things that they were nervous about, they were scared about? How did you help them through that? What was the most challenging, the most stressful part of that leasing process? And actually, talking people through that, because your next potential client is going to be feeling all of those things. So what this does is a really great way to create credibility and trust for yourself as a broker. If you're a broker, if they trust you, you're going to have a much better chance of working with the people that are then watching that video and your potential audience as well. So it's really cool to get that side of your audience and kind of understanding what they're going through this entire process, because other people are going to want to know what that feels like.
Yeah, and you're also not selling, you're just having a conversation. And it's something that you can do every day. So just have a conversation with the client like you normally would have. And yeah, the greatest thing about this is you can just use your phone. I know it's like daunting at first where you whip out that phone for the first time, but once you do it more than 3 times, you'll be a pro at it. And yeah, just make sure that your settings are set correct and you're golden. And then the next one is informative videos. This is content that you want to add value to your audience by posting these videos, not only to just do it for the sake of posting it, but you creating this video with the objective of giving your audience something that they can take away from and potentially action that insight that you've given them. For example, how-tos, tips and tricks, life, like little hacks that you've figured out through your experience as being a broker, as an expert. Yeah, and the thing is, you are the expert, so you already know all these things. It's just translating that into video content.
I think a lot of the time it's like, what do I talk about? Tips and tricks. Like, go to what is the process of leasing space? A mom and pop or a small business owner, we're kind of focusing on that a little bit with this video from a prospecting point of view, but they're not going to know what that process is if it's the first time that they are opening an actual brick and mortar store. So that's a really good way of getting into their feed, because they're going to be like, okay, I've got a small business, I've been thinking about doing this, but the process of going through this whole leasing thing and moving into a brick and mortar store is really, really scary.
Daunting.
What I've got at the moment is working fine, online sales, whatever it is, but I think it's showing that process that it's not, this doesn't have to be the scariest thing that you've ever done in your life. And And look at, talk about what should they be looking for in that process. What are the not so credible brokers doing that they need to be wary of? If it's signing a lease, are there things that are in the lease that they need to look at specifically, or they need to worry about? You want to kind of create a sense that you are the honest person in all of this, and you're here to help them. And if you're giving them all these tips in terms of this entire process, that is then going to basically build your credibility and trust again. Like we're saying with the interviews, the tips and tricks, again, you're building credibility and trust, so that people are going to want to watch your video content because they know that they can trust what you're saying. So if you're doing this without trying to sell them something, that's going to go a really, really long way in terms of them wanting to work with you the next time they open something, potentially as well.
Yeah. I mean, you can even just do like 3 things that your broker should specialize in, and you just so happen to specialize in all 3 of those things that you're mentioning. Therefore gives you that credibility, and you are that go-to person that they'll use. Then the next one is market updates. I personally am not the hugest fan of this type of content, but it's because it's not speaking to me, I think.
Yeah, because you're not the target audience.
I'm not the target audience.
So I think for me, if you're working in a very specific asset class in a very specific location, you have the obligation to tell your audience what is happening in your area. That's the way I see it. Right? It's because if you're trying to lease space, you're trying to sell properties, if you don't know what's going on in your area, you don't know what the trends are, the market trends, are prices going up, are they going down, all of these things. If you don't know what's going on, then you're not really portraying yourself as someone that the community should be going to lease space, because you're gonna need to know these things, and your audience is gonna want to know about them. So if there might be like a new center opening up, or there's a new big tenant that's moving into a center, this is a really great opportunity because it's going to bring in more foot traffic to this area. Those are the types of things you can give updates on in your market, whether maybe it's a new multifamily apartment block is going up, and that's going to, they're gentrifying a certain area. Those are the types of things that you can speak about as the expert in your area or specific location. So
I think that's the key word, is your location, your area, because a lot of people like to go very general and speak about what's happening in commercial real estate in the US, the entire US.
You like anyone can talk about that because you can just go read it on BizNow.
That's why I'm so tired of hearing that sort of information where people speak about their specific area, because that's the only place that you're kind of involved in.
Yeah.
And you want to be that expert in that area, not only in like the sector that you're in, but also, as you said, like
your location. And then we say, location, which is going into our next topic. But if you don't understand the trends that are happening in your area, you're going to be giving out potentially bad advice as well. And yes, you're going to have a property that you need to sell or lease, but you might go after the wrong type of company to do that if you're not kind of in tune with what is happening in your local market. But so those are the types of things that, you don't have to do it every single day, but there are really big upsides in providing information for your local market so that they understand, okay, cool, this is maybe not the best time for me to be like going out and opening 3 new stores. Maybe I just need to do one, or whatever. So or maybe it is a really good time. And those are the types of things that are going to help them.
Maybe it's like a big monopoly that's about to like move and dominate the area, and you're like, hey, mom and pop store, like come over here.
So those could all have a huge impact on your clients at the end of the day. So if you know what's going on there, that's a big help.
And then the next one is local business reviews, and someone that does this really well is Bucky Beeman, where he will go to businesses that he's either wanting to help or just nice little businesses that are in the area, and even his clients that he's helped previously. And he'll go in and just give them a little bit of a spotlight, but also speak about what the area that they're in has to offer for them and why it's beneficial and how he's helped them get that. And again, it's location. So he'll go then and say the property's just off of Highway 95, and you'll be like, okay, cool. Like, how's business going? This area sees like 60,000 cars pass by in a day. And not only is he reviewing the business, but also adding his touch of how he as a broker helped the business and what he can then potentially offer someone coming into it.
Yeah, great points. And I think, again, it's like interviewing people and the people that are actually in those areas and the tenants in those shopping centers or whatever it is, they are going to know. They're going to have the insights, how things are working. But also showing the area around your property, what is happening in the surrounds. We've all kind of been hoodwinked at some stage in great photography. Look at these great photos of my listing, but then you get there like, this area sucks,
Yeah, unless you know the area, you'll have no idea.
You'll have no idea, right? Yeah. So you want to show, if I'm going back to kind of the example we're using from a retail point of view, if you're leasing retail space at a shopping center, show the shopping center, show the stores that are there, show the foot traffic trends that are happening, show the areas around your space, the location that it's in, and I think that is going to paint a much better picture.
People buy the area. They don't just only buy the property, they buy the area as well.
Well, absolutely.
So sell the package.
Yeah. Unless it's super shit. Then just try to take really good photos.
Then hoodwink, yeah.
Just hoodwink. Don't tell them you got it from us.
Yeah. Then the next one is live videos. With this one in particular, you don't want to always do this as like a go-to, but this is a nice one to have in your back pocket. I
think this is for the more experienced.
Maybe a bigger following as well. But these doesn't mean don't try them. I think these are great for if you're doing an event set, whether it's ICSC or it's a little community event. But yeah, one thing to do with this, especially building up to it, is to create a bit of a hype for it, because you don't want to pop your live video on and you have one person viewing it for 1 hour while you're holding your arms getting tired.
Yeah, look, I mean, live video, it is, I would say, for slightly more experienced video content creator or just someone who's very confident. If you're super confident, just go out and do it. And maybe you're doing it every day, so you're not making such a huge deal out of it. Then you've got another angle to it. So maybe you're going live every time you go to a property, and then people are like, oh, cool, you must be at another property. Let's tune in.
Exactly.
So there are angles that you can use when you're going live, but don't let it be as daunting as it probably sounds. You've got to know what you want to talk about, but you talk about what you know. I think that's the important thing. If you're going to a property and you're doing a walkthrough and you want to go live and just pretend that you are speaking to a potential client, that you're walking them through the property, but doing it live to potentially more than one person, which can also help. So once you've built your following a little bit, that's going to then, those live videos are quite cool. People generally will, if someone goes live, they're interested and curious to see what they're talking about live. So it can be kind of fun.
Yeah. And I think also if you just put your own spin on it, say I'm just picturing myself making coffee in the morning and say I'm talking about like 3 things that I want to apply today in terms of marketing. Maybe people won't tune in, but
I'm just kidding. I'll tune in, John.
Just add your own spin.
Yeah.
And then the next one is a big one. This is, I think, one of the biggest.
Yeah, from a prospecting point of view, this is important.
Yeah. So the next one is listing videos. So I think this is essentially the closest thing that you can give your audience apart from them being present with you while doing a property walkthrough. So what you want to do with this is essentially walk through your property, but also you are now selling on camera as if they were there with you. And these are so important because how often are there situations where people actually can't even have boots on the ground and see the space? It could be in a different area. So this is a great way to get people that aren't able to make the viewing time, the day, and see a space, and you selling it in a story way, which you will be so good at if you are a broker that is selling properties or leasing spaces.
This is like video listings are where it's at. And you don't need a drone fly through, like you don't need all of that stuff.
Yeah.
It's basically, you want to tell the story of this property. And a little tip when it comes to your video listings, what I find from what I've seen as the best video listings is helping the audience actually imagine what the space could look like. So if you've just got this very, very bare space, if it's suited to a restaurant space, but it's really just a shell, you want that audience, potential restaurant owners, to honestly, you want them to imagine what their restaurant could look like there. This is where you could have your bar area. This is the kitchen in the back. This is you could have tables over here. You want to kind of paint that picture. It's not just, hey, this is the space, it's X by X, square feet. it's for a restaurant, cool, hope you make it.
Yeah.
You want to kind of paint that picture, you want to be a storyteller, because that's what people are going to imagine that in their mind, and then they're going to get excited and be like, shit, I need that space. Like, that is exactly what I've been looking for so long, because you've now helped them imagine what their dream could be, right?
Yeah. They said I could put 30 tables there. That's kind of perfect. That's what I want to have in my restaurant.
Even if it's a franchise owner who's opening a new, franchise space, a new restaurant, part of his franchise, he might want to do something a little different to the others. This might be the perfect space. So always kind of trying to help them imagine what that space could look like. If you've got that video and you're kind of helping people imagine what that space is like, and it's specifically for a restaurant, you can then use LinkedIn search to be very, very specific in terms of finding prospects to reach out to and contact that are in the restaurant space in your local area, because LinkedIn you're able to prospect really, really well with LinkedIn search. And what I mean by LinkedIn search is just using the LinkedIn search bar and the tools that are in there. You can be very, very specific. So if you're building up a bit of a community of restaurant owners, and now you have this restaurant space that you're helping imagine, now you're really starting to prospect quite nicely.
Yeah.
Instead of having to go out there and cold call and do all those horrible things.
Yeah. And it's also just a standard now. I mean, everyone's doing it, so
it is a bit of a standard.
Kind of need to.
Yeah.
And just before we move on to the next one, someone that does this really well is John Chung.
Here's an example of an office we have available for rent immediately, large windows.
Yeah, I'm going to try to say the company that he works for, but it's Royal LePage Regina Realty. He does this really well. I'll add a little link to a video. You can check it out. But yeah, he's great at storytelling and doing the whole walkthrough. Then the next one is about me videos. For example, the video that we have at the top of our YouTube channel that kind of tells you who we are, what we talk about. It's a nice little reference to what the content is about. So these are great for pinning to your profile for new visitors, where you are just being authentic about who you are. You're not selling it all. You're saying, cool, my name is Josh. I'm an avid baseball player. I live in Las Vegas, Nevada, born and raised. I love to sell properties and I love to help my clients. And yeah, this is what I do.
Yeah, it's super simple. Just actually, I say it's super simple, but filming the intro for our channel probably took longer than filming all of our episodes of CREview, because it's a little bit more personal, so you don't want to mess it up so much.
Yeah.
But write like a little bit of a script as well if you want, and just kind of memorize it and then give it a few goes. We'll give you some really good examples, no, not examples, but like tips on editing software as well. So using something like CapCut, which we'll put the link in later and we'll talk about it a little bit more, but it basically got a teleprompter on the app, so you can shoot like selfie video mode and you can just read off of your screen, and it makes a huge difference. It makes it so much easier to do. So there are lots of little ways of making all of this a lot easier than having to memorize scripts like an actor.
Yeah, but I definitely think put a little bit more effort into one of these, because you want this to live on your profile. Yeah. Whether it's on Instagram, Facebook, just as like a go-to reference, even if you have a YouTube channel, you kind of want that to live there for a while. You can always update it, but yeah, get it right. Then the next one is company videos. You need to remember that this is from your perspective as a broker working for a specific company. So you could be Dylan that works for Atypical. You kind of going around showing the environment that you work in and kind of attaching the company's values and what they do to you as a professional as well. And you creating that little like association link.
Yeah, I think this is important for two reasons. The first reason is that you want your company on your side. Firstly, if you're going to go out and start doing a bunch of video marketing for properties and listings, you want your company to be okay with that. Yeah. So it's like, hey, I'm going out and doing this on my own, like, because a lot of the time a brokerage is going to be is basically say like, no, you need to do that on our channels. Yeah. But once they see the kind of power in that, and you're actually just bringing in business and generating business for them at the end of the day, but you're selling yourself as the credible person, that's really important. So get the company on your side. The second important thing is that you're able to show credibility, that you aren't just this kind of roaming broker who's out there one-man band willing to sell anything. You're actually part of a bigger network, whether, whoever you might work for. And that's going to kind of give your audience a little bit more trust in you, and they're going to sleep a little bit better at night knowing that you aren't just going to run away with, their money at some stage.
Yeah.
So those are two really important ways of bringing the company or your brokerage into your content as well. You don't have to do it all the time, but just allude to the fact that, yes, okay, cool, I'm Dylan and I work at this company. You don't have to do it all the time, because you are really selling yourself, because people will trust people more than they're going to trust brands and companies. So that's why this whole wave of personal video content is working so well, because it's way more trustworthy than a company or brokerage or whatever going out and say, hey, trust us, we do all these things, we're great. Yeah, because like companies have never screwed people over in the past.
Yeah, it creates that authentic vibe of the broker being like, hey, listen, I'm going to show you the company that I work at. Like, I'm just going to show you around. Like, you already know me for me.
Yeah.
This is where I work. Yeah. And you're like, oh, I know those people.
I've heard of them. I've seen them. I've seen them in my local area. I've seen the billboards. I've seen the signs. So it's just a nice way to build some credibility and trust.
Yeah. Then the next one is events, and that can be conferences, community activities, anything that's kind of going on in the event space. And the great thing about these videos is you're showing that you're present. So say it's some sort of drive. It could be a charity drive. It could be something where you're helping new small businesses, maybe fundraise or something. It shows that you're present and you're there. You're involved in your community. You're involved wherever things are happening.
It's really awareness, and it's like it's not just digital awareness. So we're talking about video marketing today, but you want to show you want people to know that you're part of the community, and if they're seeing your face everywhere, they're seeing your signs. Maybe it's at a conference in your area, and you've got a small booth. Whatever it might be, you want to start creating that recognition. That it's a bit of brand recognition at the same time.
Yeah,
your face, they're seeing you on social media, they're seeing you at the events, they're seeing you on signs, whatever it might be. They're starting to build that brand recognition so that it becomes a much easier sell down the road. And again, this comes back to building credibility and trust. If you're building that credibility and trust, people are going to want to work with you more and more.
Yeah, and this is just one step closer to making you seem like you are absolutely everywhere. Like you are in front of your audience wherever they look. And then just an important thing to add to all of this is tagging and collaborating. Tagging being the easiest low-hanging fruit to do, and that is essentially going on your post when you're posting it. Say you're mentioning a business, a person, and you're physically tagging them on the post so that they get notified that they're in the post, that they've been mentioned. And it also allows them to now interact with the content and probably reshare it as well if it's good content. So this is a great way to just spread out your content apart from you just posting it and being like, okay, cool, like I hope everyone likes it. You're now creating a bit of a conversation around something just by tagging somebody.
If you're a business page on Facebook, they've stopped tagging, so you can't tag as a business. But this is really about you. This podcast episode specifically is about you creating personal content for your audience, not necessarily about your company. So tagging and collaborating is a very powerful way of kind of starting to build your tribe a little bit. If you're working with similar people, often if you are using certain vendors to do certain things, all these different people that you're working with on a day-to-day basis in your world, tag them in content, whether it's as a story, whether it's on your timeline, whether it's a reel, whatever it might be, but tag them. And then if you've closed a really cool deal with a company or a franchise or whatever, you can collaborate with them on an actual post. So you can tag them as a collaborator, then they have the ability to then accept that and then share it through their channels as well.
Yeah. I mean, you essentially give it like creating free content for them. So, I mean, just make sure that it's obviously in a good light for them when you tag them. Don't tag them if you may be not speaking highly of them, but it's free content for them. So they'll run with it and they'll reshare it, and they have their own audience. And
people are always looking for content to share.
Yeah, cross-promotion equals virality. So
the important thing to also always remember is that sharing is going to help your content go further. If it's just you posting stuff, you're going to have a certain limit in terms of how many people you can reach. if more people, if you've created a great piece of content and loads of people start sharing it, that basically creates this compounding effect where more and more and more and more people are going to see that because more and more people have shared it, which then creates something that goes viral. So always try keep that in mind when you're doing a video. Is like, is this something people would share to their community, to their audience?
I don't care how many people like content nowadays. I just look at that little paper plane and just see how many people have shared this, because that really goes to show how valuable your content is. And it
likes mean nothing.
Is it worth showing someone else? And if it is, that means a lot, I think. One important thing to remember is that you need to be creative. And that doesn't mean that you now need to jump out of a plane with a banner ad and do something insane. But it's,
I mean, do that if
you're willing to do that by all means. But be creative in your own way. And that just means adding your own spin to things. You want to have like an entertaining factor as well to have your content perform well and keep people on the platform for longer.
I think this is one of the hardest parts of doing all of this is being entertaining. And I think it's not all of us can be, not all of us are funny, not all of us have like a certain, personality that is going to translate well. So try and be creative, try and bring something slightly different into it. It doesn't have to always be, your personality that's very entertaining. Maybe you're just doing this from interesting locations or whatever it might be. It's just basically looking at an angle that people are going to identify with and say, oh, that's kind of fun, that's kind of interesting. The algorithms push stuff that's entertaining. If you're doing it in a cool way, in a slightly interesting way, and they're on their lunch break at work, then you're going to start, potentially getting a bit of traction on that. So try be creative. I know it's not easy.
These types of videos aren't viral trends. So you have to set yourself apart from the other person that's doing a market update or a listing video or something. So all the other content is boring and people don't want to watch it unless they're looking for it, which means there's less people probably watching your content. So if you're doing it in a fun way, that's a little bit different to the next person, you're already winning.
Yeah, it's short, to the point. You're getting through your notes quickly, your points quickly. The last thing you want is to sit down for an hour and listen to some guy talk about
or two guys
budget speech or whatever, or some two idiots talking about video marketing. But try your best to do things a little differently.
And then creating all these videos, what do you need to use? What tech, what sort of tools do you need? It's pretty simple, it's pretty easy, and all you need to use is your phone. The trick is to just be able to do all of this content without having to put in too much effort, because you also want to be present, say you're doing a walkthrough or you're speaking to a client or something, but at the same time having it easy to do with your smartphone. So we're going to go into a few little editing tips and tricks that we like to use or tell people maybe that are starting out, and then something that's a little bit more slightly advanced. So you love the Instagram templates, eh?
Yeah, I just think as someone who doesn't like editing, Josh is our editor. He puts all the stuff together and he's super into it. I don't want to be into it. It holds no fascination to me. It's actually quite simple. You're basically just taking short videos like between 2 and 6 seconds. You can go up to 10, whatever you want. Images as well, you can put photos in, and then you literally go onto Instagram and you go into Reels and you look at the templates and you choose a template that looks cool, and it basically just allows you to drop those videos and photos in there, and it creates a template. You can choose music and it's done. The editing part takes time, so use whatever you can use to make it easier for yourself.
Yeah, and if that's too easy for you, CapCut, which is a free app on your phone. It's owned by ByteDance, who owns TikTok.
It's TikTok. Look, I mean, however you feel about TikTok and China.
But there's free tutorials. They teach you how to use it, and it's essentially just an easy-to-use video editing app.
It's got captions, so it'll caption all of your videos.
Auto captions.
Auto captions, so you don't have to type anything out. Like, it's a really handy app. It's definitely not the only app, obviously, but it's free.
I hope this has given you a good idea of the type of video content to create and how this can help you for both prospecting and for thought leadership. It's definitely something that is boosting both of these aspects of content. Give it a go. Don't aim for perfection.
Start shooting, make it a little bit part of your life. I've been really bad at that, so don't listen to me. But hope you got something out of this. If you like the video, we speak all things commercial real estate marketing. The next video we're hoping to do on some Google ads, so not social media as such, but why Google ads are so important for your business and being a broker. But if you like this, hit the thumbs up,
Do all the
help
things.
the channel, share it if you think it's share worthy.
Yeah.
And hopefully we'll be able to get out of Vegas soon.
Yeah. Comment below where you think we should go to next.
Where else in America should we go?
I'm thinking bigger, outside the box.
Like the North Pole.
The North Pole, yeah.
What's up there?
Not a lot of ice.
Not
It's not good. Yeah.
not enough ice.
Not enough ice. Maybe we should take some ice to the North Pole.
Okay.
Just a thought.
Buy a little cooler box.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
Chuck some beers in there.
Yeah. All right. Well, maybe we'll be in the North Pole the next time you see it.
Let's see what happens.